So I run a meditation center, a local meditation center. It's in South Huntington, New York, here in Long Island where I live. And I teach an 8-week course, the 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction course. And we're 3 weeks into it. So at this point, I have meditated every weekday for 45 minutes a day in the morning for the past 3 weeks. And I wanted to do like a self-review of how it is affecting me, sort of document it as like a self-experiment. The way that I incorporated it into my life is I started to wake up earlier. So I used to wake up at probably around 7:30, around 7:30, and then I would make myself breakfast, get ready, and go to work. I've been waking up earlier now, so about 6:15, and I will meditate from 6:15 until about 7 o'clock. And then some of those days I've also been exercising as well from 7 to 7:30. Not all days, but some of those as well. And I've noticed some changes in my life. It's hard to say if it's from the meditation or the exercise or both, but I'm meditating every weekday and exercising maybe 2 weekdays a week. So I'm going to give a review on how it has been affecting my life. The first week that I incorporated it into my life, it was hard to make the adjustment because I was very used to sleeping longer, and everything in my brain would tell me to just snooze the phone and just go back to bed because I needed the sleep, and because that's what I was trained, how much sleep I was trained or thought that I needed. So it was very difficult to wake up. And then once I got up, I would sit in the meditation practice and I'd be very unfocused. Like, it was hard for me. I was trying to bring attention to just the breath. I wanted to keep it simple for the first week. And I would choose the breath as the object of my meditation or mindfulness practice. And I would come back to the breath, but I was losing focus a lot. There was also a lot of stuff that was going on in my life around this time. I took a test. I'm a social worker as well, and there's a test known as the Licensed Clinical Social Work Exam in New York. And I took that test and I failed that test. And this was during the first week of my meditation, so there was a lot of strong emotional things happening later in the week because I took the test on a Thursday. But early in the week I was studying for the test and the test was coming up. So there was a lot of distracted mind, monkey mind, you might call it, in my meditation practice. Very hard to redirect to the breath. In the second week of my meditation practice, I started to find a little more stillness, and it started to become more routine, more of a habit. I think maybe one of the most significant differences was that it was easier for me to wake up once it became a routine. They say it takes 21 days to create a habit. I feel like in this instance, I created the habit in just 1 week because waking up at 6:15 to meditate just became my new norm pretty quickly. In the second week of my practice, of my meditation of 45 minutes in the morning, I started to find a little more stillness and look forward to the meditation practice as a time where I can have silence and be still. And there was seemingly a lot of thoughts going through my mind, but productive thoughts. I run this business of the meditation center in my local community, and I have a lot of ideas for how I'd like to touch more people and connect with more organizations. So during one of my meditations, I came up with the idea to donate 10% of my revenue from the business that I run to local charities that I've worked with because they gave me a shot and they wanted me to come in to teach what I know as far as meditation. So I wanted to give back to them. And that came to me while I was sitting in meditation. So I've had a lot of creative ideas come up, and when I've had the space in the morning to sit and think, there's been a lot of creativity. Where it's been difficult is that I very much, because I get so inspired by these ideas, by these business ventures and uh, ways that I might connect with more people and network. I have a very strong tendency to want to get up out of my meditation and go directly into applying these things. But that's where the discipline and the commitment of the practice comes in, and where I tell myself, like, no, this is the 45 minutes I've set aside. And that's where I can watch the impulse to get up and do, and I can balance that with my practice of being and being in that 45 minutes. So in the second week, I guess I can say there was a lot of creativity and also testing my patience and my discipline to sit and be, even in the spite of really good ideas. So in the first week, there was a lot of distracting negative ideas, and I was able to sit through that with discipline, which I want to stress here. There's a big element of discipline in the meditative practice. And in the second week, there were really good ideas that I had these strong impulses to get up and do something, but I was able to sit with the application of discipline through those as well. And I could feel a general clarity throughout my work week. And even though I'm sleeping an hour less a night, I don't feel any more tired. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel more energized. So that brings us to the third week, which is this week. Right now it's Friday. And I notice the practice of my meditation giving me a lot of balance in my life, especially this week. There might be things that happen at work that are disruptive, and maybe a couple months ago, if I wasn't practicing meditation every day, these things might affect me differently, but I am able to experience them and not be so consumed or disrupted by them. One thing that happened this week was I got some pretty bad news in an email, and it was something that, so I was applying for a job that was going to be a really good opportunity for me in my life, and it would have been really potentially a good opportunity for me and my family going forward. And I found out after a 3-month interview process, 3 different interviews, a bunch of interviews and emails exchanges, and some pretty suggestive language that I was going to get the job, that I didn't get it. And I received that email at 12:27, and I had a client come in. I do my work for my day job is in clinical psychotherapy. I had a client come in around 12:30, so 3 minutes after getting this really tough news. And I am going to attribute my ability to focus and be there with the client and not be so disrupted or consumed by the negative emotions to the balance that is coming from this meditative practice. I felt really strong a sense of a pang of rejection, as if I hadn't done something right. What have I done wrong? What could I have done differently? And I was able to live and have that emotion be there and have it process in me while I was there with my client. And I think that balance and the ability to not be so consumed by the reactive emotions is coming from this meditative practice that I'm applying on a daily basis. So, this is week 3, and I think maybe what I'll do is document this maybe next week or in a couple weeks and check in again. for my reference and for all of you that are listening to see what kind of changes this meditative practice can have. There's a lot of neuroscience that suggests that these are the changes you can change and rewire your brain and these types of things. And but I've always been very interested in these self experiments. So this is my documentation of how it's going, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you come back to hear the reviews in the future. All right, take care.